Hey, gods and goddesses, have you ever wondered what Queen Goddess Venus stands for in your natal chart? This is where life wants to romance you, and where you have the power and permission to romance it back. Venus in astrology is the principle of magnetism, of harmony and connection. It governs how we attract, how we relate, and how we give and receive affection and what we value as feeling beautiful, what we value as beautiful overall or worthy. But beneath the surface of Venus's, known definition of love and beauty, it holds a far greater function. She reflects this need for balance within the psyche. Venus teaches us the art of relating to others and not just others. This is relating to the self and our inner world. She represents this yearning for this inner coherence where desire is not fragmented or it doesn't feel chaotic, but it's refined through this emotional intelligence, through our style, through our sensitivity, and the pursuit of finding meaning and connection. She governs this urge for peace, for pleasure, for this mutual recognition. And wherever Venus is emphasized in your chart, this is where there is a deep need to find equilibrium between one's desires and the environment, to really try to create this resonance rather than a conflict. Venus is a planetary force that pulls us into this dance of love, and it's not just romantic. This is an interpersonal dance. This is a dance between, our ethical nature and our artistic nature as well. It governs our instinct to seek comfort and pleasure and beauty and this inner safety, but it also challenges us when those needs become distorted. Venus reflects this capability or this capacity for attachment and the conditions under, which we feel loved, which we feel rejected or even appreciated, or where we unconsciously replay early experiences of affection and, of acceptance and of abandonment. Wherever Venus is, this can be a deep craving to feel chosen, adored, validated, and which can lead to these compulsive relationships or superficial charm or even this over identified need with appearing as appearing as you need approval or appearing as you have to self-sacrifice for approval. On the other hand, when Venus, is emphasized well, she or understood within your birth chart, she expresses this grace, this fairness, or this ability to enjoy life without dependency, without shame. She teaches us this delicate art of balancing this self-respect with being open to others, others overall. She governs this our style, our aesthetics, and what we find beautiful is not random. It is shaped by this unconscious need or memory or, our cultural associations or even this emotional longing. The art, in which we love, in which we wear, and the clothes that we wear, and the music that we listen to, it's all a reflection of Venus operating through our tastes, which is a map of our inner world. Beauty that is seen under Venus becomes a language of emotion. And what we call beautiful is often recognized as this emotional resonance or healing. Venus is also tied to our creativity and the pleasure of making or enjoying beautiful things. And through creating and through appreciation, this is where Venus allows the psyche to, experience wholeness, a sense of self, a sense of calmness, and this, value systems. It's finding our value systems because Venus also deals with what we believe our time is worthy of, our energy, our affection is worthy of. And this doesn't just come from, or include romantic love or personal possessions, but also our ethical nature and fairness and this personal integrity. When this function is distorted, people may become attached to surface level validation, addicted to luxury, or overly focused on appearances. This may confuse, your sense of being worthy with your sense of being liked. And this creates a disconnection within the pleasure and meaning. And this can lead to dissatisfaction even when these desires are fulfilled. This Venusian, or what I'm saying, this true Venusian maturity is, involving this inner clarity, cultivating this true worthiness or this true fulfillment, and learning through our experiences that have to do with pleasure and our natural resort of, our values, and living through our values. Venus teaches us this through the trials of relationship. Whether we idealize others, whether we become overly dependent upon others, or avoid contact or connection due to fear of being vulnerable. However, it shows up, this is where we respond to our affections, and they're not always returned. So when the beauty fades and when the connection turns into conflict, Venus really challenges us to recognize where we are projecting fantasies onto others or using charm as a defense. In this sense, Venus will not be soft, because it starts to, reveal how you're craving, how you're attached, how you are avoidant, and how it's showing up in your everyday life. And through these lessons, Venus reveals our emotional patterns and the roles that we play in relationships, and these hidden motivations behind what we pursue or what we avoid. Venus is connected to refinement, emotionally, intellectually, and her presence within your chart acts as you to elevate your instincts when it comes to pleasure, when it comes to love, beauty, and something, and turning into something more like emotional intelligence, and having this sense of groundedness, ethical groundedness, because she brings this sensitivity and she wants this mutual respect and fairness. However, you must learn to balance your emotions, and you must learn to cultivate where you can tolerate certain things. And kindness is not always a weakness, but it is emotional mastery. She teaches us how to live with desires, without being ruled by them, and how to experience pleasure without guilt, and how to connect with others without losing ourselves. Venus brings us a calm grace, and a natural charisma that doesn't seek to dominate or impress others. It wants to be seen as ease in one's body, in one's relationship, and this capability to create warmth and this mutual affection. When you aren't operating your Venus properly, it becomes needy, it becomes cold, seductive, detached. And, depending on how early these emotional needs are met or denied, understanding Venus within your natal chart reveals how one's patterns come in relationships, how one's patterns come into their self care, their value system to taking care of themselves. And these can, result in these unspoken emotional expectations, this attachment or this experience to joy without actually experiencing the real joy, the one that you desire. In a woman's chart, Venus reflects on how we express our femininity, our attraction, our emotional giving. And in a man's chart, it often shows up as, what he is drawn to within a woman, and what kind of connection invokes this affection within him. But overall, Venus describes what we what we harmonize, and in the face of tension, and how we use beauty to restore peace, and also how we experience giving and receiving. Wherever Venus is in your chart shows how this person must learn to, the difference between longing and fulfillment, and between possession and connection, and between this natural essence over, just anesthetics, and this approval when it comes to your appearance. Venus is not simply about love or about beauty. This is a very superficial way that most astrologers describe it as. But I myself see her as this gateway through what we, explore intimately. What we explore when we think about our desires and how we navigate them and how we experience this need to feel connected or affirm or emotionally seen. She is not soft, for the sake of being soft. Being in your femininity, which is seen, as soft, is a form of strength. It's a form of dishonoring your defenses to allow truth to emerge through your warmth, your natural given warmth. And Venus teaches us that beauty is not a luxury, it is a language of balance and pleasure. And when we truly understand what Venus is trying to teach us, it becomes a sense of alignment and not escape. So, yes, if that was helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Definitely watch out for the Venus series with Venus in the houses and through the signs. I'll see you. Bye.